All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. If we're having audio level problems, I apologize now. Like I said, we're in the middle of a really long, 18 hours or so now, windstorm here in Montana, and I'm having stuff blow up against the side of the studio office here, and Gary's saying he's having problems with my audio a little bit, and I have it cranked all the way. So Gary, if I start overdriving, if something changes, let me know. I've got the mic right next to my face, and usually that's a bad combination. It's usually really, you yell at me for that. So I'll just get that warning out there now. Gary, interrupt if you need to, and let's drive on with the show. All right, coming up now in this hour, I received an email from one of the judge's associates, very, very interesting, very compelling about what he's doing. And I really rushed Karen to get him on again before we change formats. I wanted to get him on and hear a story because I like what I hear so far. I mean, we're challenging the corporate mainstream for their role in what is my opinion, and I think easily provable fact, fraudulent foreclosure across this nation and the destitution of millions and millions of Americans. So it's my pleasure to introduce Judge, don't let me butcher your name, Naidu, is that right? Judge Naidu, welcome to the program.
It's Naveen Chandra Naidu.
Okay, well, I'm way too Irish to say any of that, so thank you for breaking that down. and you are a judge in the Washita Nation, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm Chief Justice for the Washita Nation and also for another Asian nation outside China. It's called Royal Borneo Nations.
Okay, all right. Welcome to the program, and I'm excited to hear what you're working on, and I'm also excited to hear the dynamic of what you just said. You know, the Washita Nation and here and one in China. I just recently returned from China. Tell me a little bit about that. I'm interested.
Well, Royal Borneo Nations is a sovereign monarchy contemplated under the 1933 Montevideo Convention. Some people who pretend to be lawyers and experts in international law think everyone needs the United Nations permission, consent, and approval before becoming a sovereign state. Well, we invoke the older brother of the United Nations, which was the Montevideo Convention of 1933. We have a population, a distinct boundary, 3 organs of state, and the ability to sign treaties of friendship, which is what Royal Borneo did with Washita, and that was how I connected Washita to Royal Borneo Nations. And now we have told the Indigenous Peoples Forum in the United Nations that, hello, we are invoking our rights to be sovereign. We don't need anyone's permission, because if a sovereign is going to look for someone's permission, then he's not sovereign. And that's why, for me, the USA means United Sovereigns of America. We don't have a king or a queen or a monarch, so we're all sovereigns, and we have a limited government that's supposed to serve us. Well, that was a constitutional imperative. Unfortunately, that's become a joke.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I would not argue that that point for 1 second. Please continue.
So the United Nations just shrugged their shoulders and said, all right, so be it. So what I've done with the Royal Borneo Nations is I've told the Treasury there, and we have our own bank. You can check it out. It's www.rbncb.com, which is Royal Borneo Nations Central Bank.com.
RBNCB, Romeo Bravo November Charlie Bravo.com.
You got it.
Correct?
You got it.
Right.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what I've done, I've noticed during my 40-year span in the business that I chose, I did not ask, but this is the business we chose. Now, I realized that even if a homeowner wins a judgment in state court or federal court, it's not time to take out the champagne and uncork the bottle, because it gets into an appellate mode, and that's where you die.
Right.
So no judgment can be upheld long enough before corporate America and Wall Street terrorizes our judiciary and the legislature, all owned by corporate America, that come on, you guys, you own stocks and shares and so on and so forth, and So what I've done is I have combined tribal is federal, / ecclesiastical. Now there are a lot of monkeys in the bar and the bench who say, yeah, and these are black-eating apes. They say, well, judge, church and state are separate. Now, you must be a moron to imply that or believe that or to contemplate that, because that word, that phrase is never used in the Constitution. I mean, we have chaplains in the Senate. They invoke Almighty God at the beginning of the Supreme Court sessions. We have God mentioned in our so-called fake funny money. So what's this about church and state separated? That is a federal law, Public Law 97-280, a federal law, which under Article 6, Section 2 is part and parcel of the supreme law of the land, says the Bible is the Word of God. Period. This was during Reagan's watch. So I don't need any monkey in the bench or the bar to tell me that church and state are separate. So I've combined tribal, federal, ecclesiastical, the first of its kind in America, maybe. This is what I'm told. And here's what we do. We sue the defendant bank for having deceitfully acquired the homeowner's property through a sale and purchase agreement, which is in essence a confession of judgment, i.e. a cognate note, which is unconscionable, unconstitutional in our jurisprudence. Number two, it is a deed of trust. Even before the ink is dry on your sale and purchase agreement, you have transferred your property rights irrevocably to a trustee. And to add insult to injury, that sale and purchase agreement also becomes a security instrument where they leverage your property and securitize it for hundreds of millions of dollars by taking advantage of another monkey brand thing called a REMIC, REMIC, Real Estate Mortgage Investment Conduit, which enjoys a 90-day tax-free status under Internal Revenue Code 960AA to GG. Now, the homeowner has been diligently, dutifully, faithfully, prayerfully, hopefully paying for 10 years or more, and suddenly he loses his job or his wife loses her job and both lose their jobs. They can hardly afford the monthly mortgage. So instead of helping them, these apes say you're going to be evicted. I've opened up a dialogue with the Riverside Sheriff's Office to stop this until due diligence and the 14th Amendment and the 10th Amendment and all our wonderful constitutional imperatives are followed. So they're seriously considering it. Coming back to what I do in my court, we file suit if they do not defend that motion within 14 days. We will award a judgment in favor of the homeowner. If they do not pay the homeowner for cheating him or her, we then take it to Hong Kong, sell the darn judgment 50 cents on the dollar, and that puts money in the pockets of the homeowner so that he or she can go out and buy a house for cash.
That is absolutely brilliant. I need you to break this down, Judge.
Okay.
I need you to break this. We're going to hit a break here. We're going to hit a break here in a minute. And
I'm going to give you a website that everybody should go into to read these imperatives. It's called The Big Payback number 4, the letter U as in uniform, at webs.com.
Say it again, please.
The Big Payback number 4 and the letter U, the Big Payback.
Okay, Judge, hold tight for 1 minute. Hold tight for 1 second. Todd, could you please turn down the music for 1 sec? Hold the commercial until I'm done. Listen. This is Wide Awake News Radio. My name's Charlie McGrath. My hosts are Eric Lovely, Karen Quinn Tostado, Gary Hendershot, Woody O'Brien. That is my lineup. Do not come into my chat room. Do not come into my program and unload about somebody else. You will be banned. Have some respect for the judge. He's making a big effort to come on here, and the people in this room are interested in what he's got to say. I'm interested in what he's got to say. Show some respect. We'll be right back in just a minute. Hang tight. Welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath on this 22nd day of May, Wednesday. Tomorrow night will be a rebroadcast. I have to attend graduation ceremonies in out of state, so I will not be able to be. No, it won't be a rebroadcast. I'm sorry, Karen. I'm sorry, Eric. What am I thinking? Eric Lovely, hour number 1. I'm not sure if we're going to have a guest for Eric or not, or if he's just going to run solo. I know Eric, he'll have no problem running solo if he needs to. And Karen Quinn Tostado is going to help her friend, Sheriff Mack, by interviewing him to talk about the conference they have upcoming. So, again, once to the great hosts that are actually on Wide Awake News Radio, Eric Lovely and Karen Quinn Tostado are bringing you a live program tomorrow night. Judge, the website, thebigpaybackforyou.webs.com. I'm looking at it right now. Attention, homeowners of America. Now, you would mention you're issuing a judgment, you're selling the judgment in China and giving these people 50 cents on the dollar, at least so they can go out. And how does this work? How does this work?
Well, very simple. All our banks and banksters are FDIC protected. So the bank will contact the bank's insurers, and I've studied the mechanism how they do it. They pay 50 cents on the dollar, and they tell Uncle Sam that they have to pay penalties that up to 10 times that amount. So it's business as usual. And even if they get a tax credit, they use it and monetize it again and again and again. It's a huge 24/9 monster that doesn't sleep. So I decided, look, let's go get it monetized. Let the banks figure it out. We are the legal judicial branch of it. Let's put the money in the pockets of the homeowners, and there we go.
I love it.
Everybody is happy. The bank is happy. Eventually, they don't have to go to court. If you and I did something of the magnitude of what the banks do, we go in for 30 years. But the banks, they pay a big, huge fine, get a slap on the wrist, and they do it again and again and again and again. It's just the way the Leviathan operates.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. As long as you let that serpent into the hen house, guess what? He's having chicken.
That's right. It's like a couple of foxes in a hen house deciding what's for dinner. So we decided, okay, I tell you what, we can't get rid of them. So let's find relief and remedy and solutions and answers, practical for the people. I mean, it's the people. It's all about the people. These people need a break. They're not getting a break. I mean, even in 1934, after the Depression, there was a famous case in the Supreme Court, Blaisdell versus Loan and Home Association, when Chief Justice Charles Evans Hughes declared that we have a real emergency, the economic depression, and therefore they put a moratorium on the mortgage payments owned by farmers and homeowners, to give them a break, to give them a reprieve, to give them an opportunity to breathe and come back again. Now, I wrote to the White House and I told them, hey, the time has come when we need to invoke and evoke this decided case, because we have problems. But instead, they give $750 billion to the too big to fail guys, and guess who suffered? And guess who was losing their homes? So I don't understand. One great guy once said that the whole idea of politics is the conduct of the affairs of state for private benefit, advantage, and profit. And I'm beginning to believe that.
I agree. You know, it's a system that's incestuous and completely out of control. And I'm trying to read chat at the same time. There's a lot of stuff coming in here. I know Eric Lovely, you got some questions, and I want to get to them on the backside of this break.
Sure.
But tell how many have taken advantage of this? I saw Runs with Scissors in the chat. I saw your message in there, and it confused me a little bit about the value of your home, the declared value, and what you end up with. How many people have been able to participate in this?
We've got close. I just started this hardly 10 days ago. We've got about 100 over people signing up in California, even as we speak.
Wow.
And Princess Taylor is a friend of mine who saw an equally big picture and said, you know what, we need to get this out to the people. So, and that's what you and I are doing right now. We're getting this information out to the people. There is a website, all the micro details, macro details, everything is there. All you got to do is just read it. If it's fine, you sign the contract, you pay the fee, and off you go. That's it.
And the China connection is up and running. I mean, they're ready to jump in and. I've been
with them. Yeah, I've been with them for 3 years.
Okay.
This is a satellite country. You see, there are a lot of things that's happening in the real world that's not getting really mentioned. Hu Jintao, the former president of China, was invited to Australia, and he made a comment. You know, the Chinese, they rather lose face. They rather lose money than lose face. So he said, China discovered Australia and America, and we have the proof and the evidence in the archive.
We're gonna do our second break. We're gonna be back in just a minute with more Wide Awake News Radio, and we'll get into this a little more. I'm going to pull some of these questions out of the chat, and I'll present them to you on the backside of this break, Judge.
Sure.
Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I want everybody, you know, to naturally get these websites, check this information out for yourself. I apologize right now because I'm having a real difficult time with technical issues due to this. I'm more than sure this storm we're in the middle of. My ability to catch everything through the headset is severely compromised. I'm trying to get through it. So I'm going to make sure I keep giving out the big payback for you .webs with an S webs.com. I'll put this link in the chat. Check this out for yourself. Tonight is the first as I'm being enlightened to it as you are. And unfortunately, with my tech issues, you're getting enlightened a little bit better than I. Eric, you had some questions, I know, and I trying to get reestablished during the break. I didn't get a chance to write them down. If you want these on here, send us a message, and we'll add you in on the Skype, and I'll let you ask him yourself the questions that you had. Judge, this sounds too good to be true. Make it make sense to me.
Well, people have started believing that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And you and I know the sun doesn't rise and doesn't set. It's the earth rotating around its own axis.
Yeah.
So people can believe the fact that the sun rises and sets. Why can't they believe a legal reality which is fortified by an economic necessity? And when our Constitution was being debated before it was ratified and discussed and talked about, everybody thought this was an experiment that's going to fail. Well, this is something new, and everything that's new is always looked at like a dog looking at a new bone. Is that a bone? Can I go grab it? But I have worked on this for a long time, and I just came back from China about 3 weeks ago.
Me too.
After getting some, yeah,
probably,
I spent a lot of time
on the same plane.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I usually go to Shenzhen, which is just across the river from Hong Kong.
Yeah. And
then Beijing, of course, Guangzhou, and back to Shenzhen. I maintain a residence in Shenzhen. So
that's what I mean. What a small world. I was in Beijing ended up in Bo-Den for a bit. So
yeah.
We probably passed each other in a very crazy driving method.
Yeah, well, I don't drive there. I've got people to drive me, you know.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't drive there either. It's a whole different world. Anyway, that's not the point. So it's established. You've done it. You're rolling with it. It's a way to help people. But Mike, your independent nation, the bank RBN CB. Is this the wave of the future? I mean, are we going to see more push towards sovereignty, which is exactly what I believe. That, go ahead.
Now, my website is www.scripturallaw.org. That's Sierra, Charlie, Romeo, India, Papa, Tango, Uniform, Romeo, Alpha, Lima, Alpha, Whiskey. Scriptural Law. Go to Scriptural Law, go to Contact Us, and scroll down to Installation of the King of Borneo. And that's a 20-minute Chinese CNN video, and you'll see me there in my Chief Justice outfit and the cabinet and everything. So China has completely endorsed our existence.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
No doubt legitimate. I've looked up. I've looked up the history that is readily available on the internet.
Now there is a book out there written by Martin Jacques, Jacqueus. It's entitled "When China Rules the World." You should look at page 502 of that book, where the ex-president of China told an Australian Parliament audience that China discovered Australia and the Americas in 1421. And this author, Martin Jacques, got this from a book written by a British historian whose name is Gavin Menzies. So now the Chinese, they rather lose money than lose face. So the President Hu Jintao, as you know, my friend, you've been there, they done their research. They will not put their foot into their mouth if their life depended on it. So, and they've never refuted this, the Australians. You see, we have been lulled and dumbed down to believe that old Christopher Columbus, his real name is Pedro Scotto. So they gave him a fancy, magical name, Christopher Columbus. So we've been told to believe something, and like as Michel Foucault said, history can always be slanted. You and I weren't around. Question of interpretation and perception.
Well, we see that all the time, don't we, Judge? I mean, history has always changed, and usually by the ones who happen to be in control at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
And all this evolved from the White House occupant. I mean, one of the most, if someone is asked who's the most clever of them all presidents, it's Martin Van Buren. This is the guy who invented partisanship, favors for political patronage, spoils of war. He's the one who created Tammany Hall. He's the one who created gifts and spoils of war after a campaign, giving his friends, cabinet positions and creating partisanship and what have you. I mean, America's dysfunction is due to crusade, partisanship, and culture. Our culture changed in the 1960s. We don't even know. We have killed close to 38 million babies since Roe versus Wade. And here we are bothered about bloody Benghazi and bothered about Syria. What happens if they come around to tell us you shouldn't be killing people? I mean, if Chemical Ali killed a couple of people, that's his business. We supported Saddam Hussein in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
you're right, and these are things I talk about at length every night. The hypocrisy of patriotism. Go ahead.
But here's the thing: I'm beginning to create a bumper sticker. People do nothing. The masses. Look what happened in 1789. I asked a class one day, what were the two important things that happened in 1789? No one could tell me.
French Revolution.
Oh, one fellow came up and said, we ratified the Constitution. Everybody forgets what happened in the Bastille when the common men and women stormed the Louis XVI, chopped his head off. You know, people's power. I'm not saying we should go into the White House and chop anyone's head off. I'm just saying people should take control. We have, in the beginning, we started with 7 articles and 10 amendments, like the 10 Commandments. Now we have 27 stupid amendments, and still 7 articles. The 10 articles, the 10 amendments were supposed to protect the people. Now we have 7 plus another 17, 24 protecting government. Look at Article 4, Section 3. If they can't think of any laws, they can't think of anything, they will make all the necessary and proper rules and regulations to protect property of the United States. Now, when was that ever contemplated? I mean, these are all amendments. You know, there was a time when the House of Representatives elected and selected the senators. Then came the 17th Amendment, where the people elected the senators. And now those 535 idiocrats in Congress are saying, oh, we need to amend, we need to repeal the 17th. What the hell is going on? I mean, is this America the land of the brave and the home of the free? No. It's the land of the free and the home of the brief. Lawyers have killed this country.
And Judge, isn't it, and I apologize if I'm overdriving now, Gary, but isn't it beyond even trying to pretend that we're a nation of laws or governed by a constitution? It's not even pretending this anymore. It isn't a matter of changing the Constitution. They'll just change wordage in legislation or in policy and invoke new edicts from on high, almost like it's a god, deity that's ruling from on high. Don't answer that. We're going to take our last break. We'll be back in just 1 minute, guys. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio, our final segment on this 22nd day of May, Wednesday. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night is going to be Eric Lovely, hour number 1, Karen Quinn Tostado with Sharon Mack, hour number 2, Friday, of course, Karen's Corner. Monday's a holiday, and starting in June is our new schedule, and that schedule goes as follows. Wide Awake News Radio will be 5 nights a week, 5 o'clock West, 8 o'clock East, 1 hour. You'll have 5 different hosts, all great perspectives and great friends and current hosts and co-hosts of the program. Monday night will be Gary Hendershot. Now we'll have Phil in for him because he's got business to handle. He'll be joining us in July, the first Monday in July. So the lineup: Gary Hendershot on Monday, Charlie McGrath on Tuesday. We are going to have Woody O'Brien on Wednesday. Thursday will bring us Eric Lovely, and Friday, of course, Karen's Corner with Karen Quinn Tostado. That will be our new lineup, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited to get that consistent mix of folks that have helped bring WideAwakeNews.com, Wide Awake News Radio, to where it's at today. And again, I want to put out a thank you to Jeff Rintz for understanding our need to change our lineup and to continue to pursue the endeavor of trying to wake people up. And he's been more than magnanimous with his support of Wide Awake News Radio and supporting this change. So thank you, Jeff Rintz. Thank you, Todd Waite. Thank you, hosts. And Judge, thank you for letting me do that little announcement there. Very fascinated by what you're working on. Very fascinated by the nation in general. And obviously, in 43 minutes, with faulty audio equipment tonight, or faulty audio conditions tonight. I'm not getting everything that I want out of this interview. But I do, basic questions in this final segment, about 10 minutes or so. Tell me about the nation in general. How many people are in the United States? Are we seeing an influx? Are you seeing persecution from the current control structure? Give me your prognosis for governance in the United States.
That's a very good word, governance. Our problem is governance and government. We, the people, are not getting what they deserve by way of economic freedom. We seem to be more, when I say we, I'm talking about the 535 idiocrats in Congress and the White House occupants. They seem to be more interested in foreign affairs. We have a mess here at home. We got a mess with gun control, we got a mess with understanding the Second Amendment, we got a mess with foreclosures, we got a mess with all kinds of stuff. We have a complete mess with the abortion issue. See, we haven't even taken care of this. I'm beginning to believe that the more they spend time with Benghazi and the AP, Associated Press, and the Syrian issue, and now with this IRS Tea Party and 501c4 issue, I think this is like wagging the dog.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It is wagging the dog, and my stance is, and even in recent commentary videos on exactly that topic, which is get your head out of Benghazi, get your head out of the IRS. These are not news. This isn't news. Of course, Benghazi was a setup. Of course, the reasons for being there in the first place were a setup. The killing of Gaddafi was a setup. I mean, this is a distraction. This is a smoke and mirrors tactic. And for the media to come out and infatuate themselves and try to lure the people in this country into an argument that the IRS is dangerous and the IRS oversteps its bounds. Come on, man. This isn't news. This is smoke and mirrors. Go ahead.
Exactly. That's what I've been telling people. I mean, why fight the IRS when there are enough exclusions, exceptions, exemptions, exit, escape clauses? Why fight the IRS when you can invoke, provoke, and evoke these exceptions and these exemptions, because the code necessarily is an enigma wrapped up in a riddle. Yeah. So why unwrap the damn thing? Just use your brain, if you have one, and unravel. When I was helping some people in Canada, they've got this huge thick, it's thicker than the Bible, thing called Spikesman's taxation code. All I went to the glossary section and looked up E for exemptions and exceptions and exclusions, and I told my client, all your answer is here. He immediately fired all his accountants and his attorneys. I told him, you have a right to be wrong and you've got a right to be ignorant. So we need to fix this problem. We just can't simply talk about it. We need the people to do something about it. And the first thing these people can do is stop voting these idiocrats back into the Congress. Like Will Rogers said, every time Congress wants to make a law, every time Congress wanted to pass a joke or make a joke, they passed the law, and every law they passed was a joke.
Well,
so we need to stop these two-term senators and the House of Representatives. We need to get them out.
No doubt about it.
Here's the larger question.
Judge, they end up being dictators of their own right. We're fascinated with. I shouldn't say we. The pop culture, the political pop culture, is fascinated with the concept of left and right, red and blue, but in reality, there's no difference. A and B, the true power isn't on the spokesman, right? It's in these dictators that end up in positions of power inside Congress for forever. Go ahead.
You know, the answer to this, in the good old days before William the Conqueror landed in England and said, "This is my land," we had what's in England called alderman. Alderman means an elderman. You know, the wise people of a village or a hamlet or a couple of villages got together and they handled civil and criminal issues, you know, where everybody voted. Is this guy innocent or is he, you know, guilty, blah, blah, blah. Until John Locke, a complete idiot, who invented government, and that too limited government. Come on, that's like saying taste but don't swallow. You know, we invented government. The Lockean ideal is a stupid ideal. You know, I mean, is government necessary? That's the issue here. Why can't we have aldermen? Why do we need a central, this thing about government is wrong.
Yeah.
Why is government necessary? What good is government doing? I mean, if each person or a group of people looked after 1 mile of roads in the cities or the highways and the byways, I mean,
it's called determining your own destiny. It's called sovereignty.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of, I mean, you're born here, and by implication you have a contract with the government. That's rubbish. You don't have nothing to do with the government. The policeman doesn't have a right to stop you for speeding or whatever, because you are not engaged in commerce.
Yeah.
You're traveling. You're not driving. You're not, you know, taking goods for interstate or intrastate commerce.
You've become a toll. You become a rolling ATM.
So the people, the people got to understand that the American experiment called the U.S. Constitution has not reached the final frontier. We are still in the infancy stages. We have 3 organs of state, you know, and the vice president of the country is the president of the Senate. So there he is, part of the executive and part of the legislature. Mm-hmm. And some fool says, "Oh, we have the separation of powers." What are you talking about? What separation of powers? So when there is a tie in the Senate, the vice president, let's say we're going to impeach the president, and there is a tie required to break the tie. The vice president, who obviously is the president's man, is going to vote in favor of the president, even if the president was guilty as sin.
Yeah.
So there are so many other jokes in our Constitution, you know. It's just bizarre. But people do nothing.
No, they don't. They don't. And it's like we talked about in the first hour. Not only do they do nothing, they're conditioned to do nothing. They're also, and you know, I don't like doing the big they, everybody, but it certainly seems that conditioning has been set in order that if you speak out like you are, Judge, or like I do, then you are immediately an outcast. Not only an outcast, there's something wrong with you. You shouldn't think this way. You shouldn't think for yourself, Judge.
Yeah, well, you see, every American must read the book Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. You must read the book. The only way you're going to get this country on an equal footing is for the people to rise up and change the status quo.
You see that coming, Judge?
I'm not sure. You see, I know the classes don't like the masses to be well informed and well educated and knowledgeable. But my appeal is for the masses, because we have 8% of the intellectual class controlling what's good and what's bad for America. Now that, for me, is totalitarianism.
No doubt about it.
People don't look at it that way. I mean, here's an idiot saying, "Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't drink by the beach, you can't drink soda in school, you know, you can't work more than 8 hours." Who are you? What about laissez-faire, freedom of contract? Lochner versus U.S., Lochner versus New York, 1905, that changed the status quo. You know?
Yeah, I do know. I do know. And it's gone. It doesn't exist. You're not allowed. I mean, you know, that's the joke. You know, you think you're in the land of the. You think you're free? Yeah. You're not free. Judge, we've hit the wall here. Let me get this side out. Let me get this side out, guys. Again, this is the first time I've ever spoken to the judge, and I'm not fully versed in everything he's got going on. But we had a good start tonight, Judge. The website is The Big Payback for the number 4, the letter U. The Big Payback number 4, letter U. .webs webs.com. The Big Payback for you. .webs.com. Check it out. Learn up on this for yourself, Judge. We will get you back on. I'll exchange some emails with you, and I want to pick your brain a little bit. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your information with us tonight.
Likewise.
All right, Judge. You have a good night, and thanks for suffering through my technical woes here. Gary Hendershot, thank you very much for your effort to try to correct that on the fly. And guys, please enjoy Jeff Rintz, because he is coming up next tomorrow night. Eric Lovely, hour number 1. Karen Quinn Tostado, hour number 2. Friday night, Karen's Corner with Karen Quinn Tostado. We will see you guys back here next week. Have a good night. Peace.
Good night and good luck. Bye.
Thank you, Judge.